So folks, welcome back again. Round 2. I was heading over to the Polderbaan and initially I was going to the Spottersplatz parking lot. And as I was standing there, I had a look on all the apps and on Flight Radar. And I was about to type a post to say that I was out of luck because although the runway usage app said that the Polderbaan was being used for arrivals, Flight Radar showed that in the meantime runway 27 was open again for arrivals and was the main runway in use for arrivals. Now I was typing my message and kept an eye out on Flight Radar and I saw that they reopened the Polderbaan for departures. So yeah, hopefully we're able to catch a break and will we see the rest of the afternoon planes taking off from over here. I get some messages in the chat that the connection is not optimal. Is it the sound? Is it the footage? Is it both? What is going on? Okay, Rick says that now it's working fine. Hopefully things are back to normal again. If they aren't, please let me know in the chat. In terms of microphones, everything is on. My DJI mic seems to have connection. Stream over here seems to be working well. Well, thanks guys for sticking around. Simotra says, good to have you back. Well, I'm happy to be back. Hopefully this time round we will be able to stick around a little longer. It's one of those days. It's always a bit of a gamble with runway 27. The website that forecasts what the runway usage will be later in the day said that runway 27 would be used for arrivals throughout the afternoon. Well, apparently it is still the case, but it was a temporary shutdown. In the meantime, I think... Okay, footage was freezing a couple of times, but now good. Okay, well, keep me posted guys if the connection or the sound for some reason continues or starts jamming again. Let me know. You're always out here in the open, so maybe the Wi-Fi had temporarily less than optimal reception. Maybe it was my computer. I don't know what happened, but keep me posted. If it goes bad again, please let me know. Then I'll do another round of checks. As far as I can see from over here, everything seems to be working on my end. Now, let me have a look on Flight Radar. This is the same Boeing 767 that we saw land earlier, so that's nice. Maybe, hopefully, you guys can see her in the background. Maybe the A380 will also take off from this runway. That would be a treat. See her land, or him, during round 1. And seeing her take off again in round 2. Fortunately, it was still early in the afternoon and I don't have any other obligations later today, so that packing everything in and moving to another runway was a viable option today. You guys notice it, I do require some time to pack everything in again and also to set everything up again. Although my setup is not as elaborate as Kevin and Rudy's from airline videos, I do carry more stuff with me than, for instance, other live streamers around Schiphol. Now technically I would be able to also do a live stream an entire day with all the equipment that I carry with me, but it also takes some time to set up and pack back in again. So I'm really glad that you guys stuck with me and all tuned in again for round 2. Icelandair flight 501 back to Reykjavik, the Boeing 767 we saw land earlier. Here she goes. Now, unfortunately, as you guys saw with the first plane taking off, the cloud base is rather low, the ceiling. And we'll likely see her disappear in a few seconds. Yep. So the wind is still coming from the west northwest. So this would be the direction the wind is coming from approximately. Airplanes taking off from the Polderbaan today have crosswind from the left. It's mostly overcast. We did have some drizzle earlier this afternoon, also while I was walking over here. There are a few small droplets on my camera. For safety measures, I did bring my small umbrella along and also put a garbage bag over my power supply, just to be sure. But it seems to be dry again, and hopefully it will stay that way. And Roadhog, you're absolutely right, they were playing with me. I saw it, and yeah, annoying. But you know, that's the way things go over here at Schiphol. Raymond Hurst checking in from Southern California. Good morning. No, yeah, it's still morning over there. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well, mate. So Rick says that Kevin and Rudy probably began a bit more basic as well. Definitely, they probably didn't pack out with all the gear they are currently carrying along with them. And I sure hope that at some point in the future I will be able to do a big Sunday show as well. That would be terrific. I sure as hell would seize the opportunity if I would be able to do that. And photo for you, confirming that it happens so often that when you're standing something, the runway closes, you leave, and then the runway opens up again. It's happened to me before. I think, with the exception of the streams I did from over there when it was really storming, all the other times when the wind was so, I had to end the stream in an hour or so, although this was with 45 minutes or so was a new record. But yeah, it's that's why I like the Polderbaan the most. It's one of the preferential runways. It's almost always open for business. But also with this runway, I've had it happen once not too long ago that I was also coming over here assuming that it was going to be open given the prevailing wind at the time, and it still didn't go open. Well, photo for you has to go. See you later, man. I will see you at the next one, undoubtedly. Take care. So, DFW Plane Spotter says good morning from Dallas. Good morning to you too, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to AMS. This is runway 18 left, Polderbaan. So we are now at the other side of the runway. I was initially standing, I think probably somewhere around there, in the distance behind the highway. This is the A5 highway, and even further back is where the McDonald's Spottersplatz is for runway 27. You don't see the golden arches from over here. They're obscured by all the buildings in the foreground. Well, Rick, I will keep you in mind if I ever need an extra plane jockey. My friend Gosse, who also sometimes says hi during the streams, he used to be a pilot. He used to fly the Dash 8, so I already asked him, so if maybe one day the weather is getting better, if he feels like it, why not come and join me? I have a second mic. We can do some chatting and maybe some Q&A perhaps. So he didn't reject it outright, so maybe in the future we can do some Q&As with a former pilot as well. Meanwhile, the A330 from Delta was slowing down on its way to the runway threshold. There's a Ryanair 737 behind it. Now I'm curious, looks like the 737 already has all its takeoff lights on, so I'm guessing it's coming straight ahead and will take off right in front of us. We'll have to wait and see. We'll find out soon enough. Henky, goedemiddag, good afternoon. Simon Kirby, good day to you. Wendy, good day. Sorry if if I missed any people. I'm really happy that you are all back again, that you stuck with me after a disappointing first round. Although you guys were saying that the sound was okay back then. Now over here I feel some wind, but it's not a lot, so I'm guessing that even without my pouch contraption that I came up with earlier this week to mitigate the sound and the crackling, if I didn't use it, I would probably still not have heard any crackling today, just because the wind is not blowing hard enough. But there was a bit more wind exposure over at the other side. So if this works, that would be terrific. Ryanair 737 did take off in front of us, as I figured it would. And meanwhile, behind me, the A330 from Delta approaching the runway threshold, ready to line up. Now, due to the low cloud base, we aren't able to follow the airplanes for too long. That's the upside. We are more or less forced to turn around the camera quickly. And as it's entering the clouds, let me do just that. Oh, okay. So the A330 still holding short before the runway threshold. And to the left, we are seeing an Embraer from KLM coming this way. Lights are on already. So another one skipping the line ahead. And Simotra confirms sound is good. Happy to hear that. I did lower the volume a little bit because we are much closer to the runway than where we were for round one earlier today. It was clipping a bit initially. Now where I'm standing, there's not a lot of wind, or at least I don't feel a lot of wind. Like you saw in the background, the windmills are actually spinning. Not really leisurely, although also not extremely slowly, quickly. If you look to, there's always a good point of reference, the chimneys from the electricity plant over in the port area to the west of Amsterdam. You can see the direction of the wind and also get an idea of the current wind intensity. The A330 to the right of me is still holding short, it hasn't moved, so let me also show you the windsock at the fire station over here. You can more or less get an idea of the prevailing wind. So, in the meantime, I can see that there's another KLM airplane taxiing towards us. Let me see, it is a 737. The A330 over at the runway threshold still holds short, hasn't moved. So I'm guessing, also considering that the 737 seems to have its takeoff lights on already, that one is also going to go first. Good to read back, Vic, that the sound is really excellent. Now, if you look in the water over here, and I have to press the zoom out rocker a bit, you can see it's almost like a mirror, so at least where I'm standing there's hardly any wind at all, so I don't expect any crackling even without the pouch around the microphone. And that's a very good question, Rick. Maybe another A330 from Delta having problems. It has been Deltas mostly. Well, no, it's exclusively, in fact. So, and it is an A330 of the older type, because I also haven't seen the Neos having issues that they aborted their takeoffs. So who knows? If anybody is listening to ATC, happens to have heard something on ATC, do let us know in the chat, because I'm sure that many of us will be curious to hear if something is wrong or not. It is a bit suspicious, of course. Delta A330s, we've seen 2 rejected takeoffs or aborted takeoffs, whatever you would like to call them, in the last 2 weeks or so. That's only the ones that we were able to witness because I was live streaming at the time. Now to the right of me, an Easyjet Airbus is also coming this way, so I think that one is also going to take off. In that sense, it's not too bad that the A330 is standing over there, because there's no traffic that can pass it by, so all the outbound traffic now has to take this entrance to the runway to depart from the runway. And yeah, the Airbus is still standing still. This Airbus, not so much. Baby bus. Meanwhile, you guys can probably hear some birds chattering, chirping. Even though the weather doesn't seem to be very much spring-like yet, nature does seem to respond like it's spring already. Well, I'm still operating the camera with gloves on, that's something I can tell you for sure. So first up is another KLM 737, almost blinding us with the lights on. Well, the A330 still not moving. Definitely something up there. No more traffic coming this way just yet, so... Oh wait. Now it is moving actually. Okay. Well, let's see if the takeoff will go without any issues. Ah, okay. Bram Borst says that they have a flaps issue. Flaps issue, alright. Thanks for letting us know in the chat. Very informative, so let's see. Hey, K3 photo bombing the takeoff. Well, at least visually, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary in terms of the flaps on the left-hand side. Slats also seem to have lowered normally. Oh well. It adds an additional dimension of excitement when these days you are flying Delta on their A330s, that's for sure. Will we take off? Will we be in time? Won't we have any issues before taking off? So in the meantime, I see also a few mentions of the A380 being live on flight radar and taxiing. Where the... You know what is it then? Let me also see. Okay, it seems to have pushed... it seems that pushback has been completed. Yeah, hard for me to say. I wouldn't bet any money on it if it's going to taxi over here or if it's going to take off from runway 24. Either way, if they, considering that the destination is Dubai, could go either way. First up will be a Boeing 737-800 from KLM, outbound to Glasgow. KLM flight 1477. That is a 16-year-old airplane. First flight February 2007. Seems like we will have to wait a bit after that one, but I do see many wide bodies also active on flight radar. 777 to Curaçao, and also a 777 to Shanghai. Now, those could potentially come this way. Also, Delta 165 to Minneapolis is on the move, another Delta A330. Now, there's a good chance that that one is going to come to this runway. We'll have to wait and see. And also in the background there's the A380 also starting its taxi, but it does seem to be taxiing away from us, and if it were to depart from this runway it would have to go the other way around, because they all at least seem to be taking the route, the taxiways along the south side of the runway, 18 center, 36 center that is. So I'm cautiously pessimistic about whether or not we are going to see the A380 take off. I think it might be taxiing to the Kaagbaan over the east side of the along the east side of the terminal building. We'll see soon enough. In the meantime, this 737 from KLM to Glasgow is coming this way. It's also going to take off right in front of us by the looks of it. Hey there Maxime, good afternoon. And Arjan Prins, goedemiddag. Welcome to AMS Live, everybody. It is round 2 after an initial short round of arrivals at runway 27. We are now over at Polderbaan for departures. It is still one of 2 runways together with the Polderbaan, the Kaagbaan, runway 24. Unfortunately, today, this afternoon at least, we will not be able to see all outbound traffic take off in front of us. Now, Easter weekend is in front of us. The weather is predicted to improve over the weekend, at least in terms of more sunshine. Temperatures will also go up a little bit compared to what they are yesterday, yesterday and today. So I'm definitely looking to go out for live streams each day in the upcoming weekend. And Rick exactly confirming that the A380 is going to Kaagbaan. Now there is a 777 SkyTeam livery coming this way, Rick says, so that's very good. John O'May, goedemiddag. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Everybody else who has joined us in the meantime, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy, and this is the Polderbaan, where we are waiting for some more takeoff action over here at Schiphol Airport. Initially, we were set up at the other runway, runway 27, and after 40 minutes, it seemed to close. We did see a Boeing 747 and also the A380 land, so if you guys missed that, make sure to look back the other stream They both landed in the first 10 minutes. Once I get home after this stream later today, I will look up the exact times and will timestamp them in a comment below the video. Sound is funky. Okay. Let's see. Oh dear. Okay. It seems that for some reason my DJI receiver is empty. That's strange because I was sure that I had it charged. Now the upside is it uses USB-C and my phone is pretty much full, so for the time being I can unplug the USB cable that I feed into my phone and let me feed it into the receiver of my DJI mic. There we go. So I'm now charging my DJI mic receiver over USB. I have to make sure that I also don't run my phone empty with the screen on maximum brightness, fully open. Alright, so I use a lavalier mic and I wirelessly transmit the signal via DJI mic to my ATEM mini switcher, and for some reason the receiver had died on me. So I'm now charging it over USB instead of charging my phone. So we should be good by now. Thanks for letting me know, guys. Hopefully things will stay as they normally are from now on. Suikerbietjes, nice name. Says, love the stream, I'm enjoying it. Thank you for your kind words. I do my best. If you guys are enjoying this and you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure that when you do, to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live, and I'm expecting to go live in the upcoming days, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. So when you turn on notifications, you receive a heads up if you have the time for it and are feeling like it, you can join us once again. Also, subscribing helps me greatly to reach more aviation fans like you and me who are also into content like this. Now, in the meantime, another Delta A330. If I recall correctly, this one outbound to Minneapolis. At least the taxi seems to be going without any issues. Turning onto the runway threshold right now. Indeed, to Minneapolis. Or is that? No, that's this one already. Just see a few vortices coming off the winglet tips for a few seconds. Humidity is still high. There's an ever so slight drizzle at the moment going on. And she's into the clouds already. Now that's also the upside of the weather they predict for the upcoming weekend. It's expected to open up a bit more, so we're able to see both inbound and outbound air traffic for longer than is currently the case. Now in the distance we can see a 777 from KLM coming this way in the SkyTeam livery, outbound to Curaçao, Willemstad, Boeing 777-300ER, 13 years old, first flight August 2009, and behind it is going to be an Easyjet A320neo, outbound to Glasgow, 3 years old, first flight July 2019. So Suikerbietjes is checking on the account of his son or her son, so that explains Suikerbietjes, nice name. I actually once had a car crash because of the harvest of the sugar beets, if that's the proper English word for it. It was muddy on the road and my car slipped as I was turning around the corner. So I had understeer, I overcorrected, then the front tires got grip again, and as a consequence I went the other way around to the other side, and luckily with not a very high speed bumped the front of my car into a truck, which didn't have any damage, but the front of my car was almost total loss. Now it was a lease car from the employer I was working for back then, so you don't feel the financial pain yourself. You get another substitute car and you do get a bill just for the information, and you're thinking, oh wow, they earned some good money on the repair. But that was in fall on a road that tractors that harvested the beets, the sugar beets, also were using to transport their harvest to the farm or away from the farm to wherever they take it to, probably a plant to process the sugar, which, if I'm not mistaken, is also over here at Halfweg. And I'm thinking, can we see the buildings? Can I show you guys? But by the looks of it, I don't see it anymore, or at least not from this point of view. There used to be a sugar factory over there. That's in between Haarlem and Amsterdam, Halfweg. Lovely SkyTeam livery, especially around this time of day if the sun is out and it illuminates the livery from this side with the sun behind me. Extra visually appealing, although the grayness of the livery does match the current weather conditions properly, but on the other hand, the white-orange from Easyjet at least gives some welcome bright colors to this otherwise dull background. So A320neo outbound to Glasgow. Just to wait a little bit before getting clearance. Always some wake turbulence after heavy takeoff. If you fly into that, it can be very bumpy. Anyway, she is. Sounds, if you close your eyes and just listen to the engine sound, I always think it's like a mini 777. Almost the same frequency of whining, if you can call it that. Dirk Juliger checking in from Germany. Herzlich willkommen. Guten Tag. Hope all of the people watching are doing well. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your weekend already. Easter weekend, for most people a long weekend. Christopher Falaise, if I pronounce your last name correctly, checking in from Guernsey. If I recall correctly, that's one of the Channel Islands. Welcome to the stream, my friend. So we still have to wait a little for the next traffic to come this way. Unfortunately, this is not the only runway in use at the moment for departures. There's not a lot of wind, and that makes it easier for Schiphol to open up runways. Now let me have a look. So Polderbaan, according to the app I'm using, should still be open together with runway 24 for departures. Let me have a look at flight radar. No traffic coming immediately. Although I do see a 777 active on flight radar. KLM flight 681 777-300ER. That's going to fly to Vancouver, and that one is almost certainly going to come this way, unless of course they are going to close this runway. But that doesn't seem to be the case just yet. Yeah, it's one of those days that it is a bit slow at times, unfortunately. Kommende Deutsche, herzlich willkommen, liebe Grüße aus Düsseldorf, liebe Grüße zurück. Pepito, herzlich willkommen aus Innsbruck, auch wieder dabei. A lot of German speaking people also finding this stream. Welcome each and every one of you. I hope you guys are liking it over here. It is a bit slow. I think over at runway 27 there's more action at the moment with all the landing airplanes, but yeah, it looked like it was going to close and then it reopened again. We'll have to wait a little bit, but as Rick is already mentioning, there is a BA A320 on its way. Hopefully some more traffic will come after that. So the A320 from BA to London Heathrow will be coming first. It is now passing around the southern threshold of 18 Center, 36 Center. And it still has to taxi all the way up to where it can take a left-hand turn and come to the Polderbaan runway. Now I do hear that wind is picking up a little bit. Also gives me time to update the ticker in terms of the latest weather. Hopefully it is increasing a little bit, the wind. That will also give me some useful feedback in terms of whether or not the pouch I'm using around my microphone is working. By the way, how's the sound in terms of the airplanes taking off? Is it different from what it normally would be in terms of the lows or the highs? Do you feel that something is muffled in terms of higher frequencies or lower frequencies? Back at home I was testing out how the sound with the ski goggle pouch around the microphone would sound like, and at home when listening to voice and to music I didn't hear a significant difference. There was I think a bit less bass in the sound I was hearing, but it was otherwise mostly normal. Hey Jerry, thank you so much for your super chat. Thanks for the hard work, he says. I do my best, my friend. It doesn't feel like work. That's the thing. So I'm happy to do this, and thank you so much for your support and recognizing the effort. I hope you guys are enjoying it. That's the most important thing. I always have a blast doing this, but hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. So Matt Taylor says, sounds good. Very happy to hear that. I'm also looking forward to listening back to both streams that I did today when I get home again. Hopefully this will work. Robert Brun also confirming sound is good. And Happy New Year, Ina. Yeah, it is the bird controller doing some bird chasing away of birds, I should say. You heard one of the flares, and maybe that's also why it's slow at the moment, because the bird controller is also doing a round of bird controlling. Definitely a job for you if you don't mind working irregular hours and like setting off fireworks and are also into airplanes. I think you can find vacancies for bird controllers on the website of Schiphol. Werken at Schiphol.nl, I think. Work at Schiphol in Dutch. So the A320 from British Airways is now coming over here, off to London Heathrow. I think there are a couple of other smaller jets underway. I'm also curious to see when the 777-300 to Vancouver is going to taxi. Because as I said, I think it's almost certainly going to come this way. First, this A320 from British Airways, outbound to London Heathrow. It's an A320-200, BA flight 439. The airplane 15 years old. First flight was in March 2008. Hey, and Dr. O, thank you so much for your super chat, my friend. From the One and More Aviation Team Frankfurt. That is very kind. Thank you guys so much. And thanks on the 2700 subscriptions. I don't see the number of subscribers live when I'm live streaming, but really lovely to see that the channel continues to grow as fast as it is. Rick says that the sound is good, don't hear any difference really. Well, I'm turning 41 in a few months. I don't hear a big difference as well, but yeah, might be the age as well. Maybe the youngsters here do hear a more significant difference. And another turn and burn. And soon she'll vanish into the clouds. In 3, 2, 1. Yep. Now, bummer that the A380 didn't take off from this runway, but instead from runway 24. We were lucky to see it land during the first stream, in the first 10 minutes or so. It was a bit of a race against the clock because I didn't think I was going to make it. Hence the late announcement, because I first wanted to make sure that I had arrived at Schiphol in time, and also were already setting up. So as I was setting up and doing the final preparations, I announced the stream, because I figured if I am going to announce it's going to start at 1 o'clock or 10 past 1 and I'm not going to make it, that would be disappointing. Meanwhile, the chat is going on very rapidly. Ah, Simon Kirby thought I said birth controller. No. Take a job as a birth controller and chill at Cafe Pacific. Now, if I ever going to introduce a second membership tier to the channel, it is going to be called Cafe Pacific. That is definitely an inside joke worth naming a membership tier to. For now, that's not in the planning just yet, but and Rick says, I wonder what kind of qualifications you need to meet to be able to become a birth controller. Yeah, good question. What would you be needing to do that? So let me have a look at what's going on. There is a KLM 737-800 about to come around the corner, outbound to London Heathrow, and I can see that the 777 from KLM to Vancouver is also on the move, the 777-300. And there's also, I think that might be the same 747 that we saw land just before or just after the A380, the Silkway West. And well, it doesn't say it's a special livery, but it's not the standard Silkway livery at least. Boeing 747 outbound to Oslo, also on the move. Now I'm curious to see if it's going to taxi over here or if it's just going to take off from runway 24. Now Oslo, of course, north of the Netherlands, so there's a good chance that the Silkway Queen is going to taxi over here and take off in northerly direction. Now behind the 737-800 that we see in the distance is going to be another Easyjet A320neo, also going to London, but London Luton. London. Fish, chips, cup of tea, bad food, worse weather, merry flipping poppins, London. If you know where this is coming from, you'll know. Now, if I look more closely, it seems that all the lights are already on, so I wouldn't be surprised if the 737 is going to taxi ahead straight and will take off from right in front of us. Meanwhile, I'm looking at flight radar to see what the 747 is doing. Fingers crossed that it's going to come this way. Now, the Saudi Dreamliner to Jeddah also seems to be active on the platform, so who knows, we might see that too. Dan asks where I'm standing. I'm standing along the Polderbaan, but not where the main Spottersplatz is at, but if you go back to the crossing that you need to take a left-hand turn, I'll show you in a minute. Interesting lighting. It almost seems as if the sun is illuminating the airplane, but if I look around, it's still overcast. Don't see any patches of blue sky where the sun can creep from behind. From. Well, Dan, you asked where I'm standing, and let me show you. The main Spottersplatz that you can also find on Google Maps, that is over there where this man is walking his dog. In the background you see a parking lot, and that is where the main Spottersplatz is. So if planes are arriving on the runway over here, I will park over there and walk over the cycling path that you see in the distance. You might just make out the blue cycling path sign. If you walk over there and continue walking along the runway, there is a good place to see the airplanes when they land on the Polderbaan. Now there is a road leading to the Spottersplatz, and that goes back to a crossing, which is along the trees and then behind the building and the trees over here. If you then take a left-hand turn, there's a road that leads to a little roundabout, and that ends over here. You can see the light posts. That's where the roundabout is, and I'm standing in the grass just a couple of meters away from it. So in the meantime, here is the Neo. It seems that the pilot is waving. He is waving, or she is waving. So, A320 Neo outbound to London Luton. I think that was the first that the pilots are actually waving to us. That's why I like standing here, the point of view, you are so up close, particularly if the airplanes take off from the entrance to the runway. That was just the case. And Hans T asks, any plans for 4K? Well, if I can in the future, I will. At the moment, I'm just trying to optimize everything that I'm currently running, and hopefully the sound issues I was having are now mostly over or fully over. So I'm still trying to optimize what I'm currently doing, but I am definitely thinking about 4K. Not sure if I can do that with my current setup. I think I might have to upgrade my camera then. Although it does shoot 4K, it only shoots at 30 frames per second, and I think that might be too slow for the type of footage that you shoot when doing aviation live streaming. Obviously, following moving airplanes, it's something I can try out because my camera can run 4K, but then I would have to do some testing without live streaming, just recording some footage to the memory card and see how it looks. Maybe if it looks okay, then I think the rest of my equipment should be able to handle 4K as well. Definitely something I am planning on looking into at some stage, but first I really want to prioritize making sure that sound and video, all things that I'm currently running is running correctly. Now folks, if you're liking what you're seeing, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live in the future, you receive a heads up. If you have the time for it and are feeling like it, you can join us once again. It also helps me greatly to reach a wider audience of people who are into aviation like you and me, so that they can also enjoy the action at Schiphol Airport. I am looking to go live again tomorrow and Sunday and Monday as well. I'm also doing some preliminary work to hopefully free up Thursdays as well in the future. Not yet sure if it's all going to go through and also from when. I will keep you guys updated, of course, as soon as I know more. Now, I haven't had time yet to check flight radar, but I'm curious to learn if the 747 from Silkway West is coming this way or not. Or is it going to take off from 24? It did say on flight radar that it was going to go to Oslo, so I figure that when it does take off, the most logical runway to do it from would be this one. Also, just to show you how much zoom there is in these camcorders, and also how much zoom you still need to use even though you are standing alongside the runway. Now, for those of you tuning in later, welcome to AMS Live. My name is Boy. We are standing alongside the Polderbaan for round 2, where initially we were standing along runway 27 for arrivals, and then after 40 minutes the air traffic dried up and it looked like the runway was going to be closed. So that's why I relocated to the Polderbaan, where initially I was expecting to set up at the other side of the runway for arrivals, but it turned out to be an afternoon of departures. Now, in the middle of the screen you guys can see the smoke coming from the chimneys of the electricity plant from Nuon, that is in the Westport area of Amsterdam, just to show you the wind strength and direction. The airplanes, if you're unfamiliar with the layout of Schiphol, are taking off into the north. What wind there is blowing from the northwest, so that is approximately from over here. As you guys can see, it is overcast at the moment, with mild, ever so slight drizzle every now and then. Over the weekend it's expected to get more sunny and also a bit warmer. I think we are still in the high single digit temperatures in centigrade at the moment. So that is approximately 40 degrees or so Fahrenheit, if I do my math properly. Or maybe no, it's in the high 40s, just under 50. We're now waiting for the next traffic. Unfortunately, there are 2 runways in use at the moment, so not all outbound traffic is departing in front of us. In the meantime, I see a lot of activity in the chat, and the Silkway Queen is coming this way, people are saying, so very much looking forward to that. Hey Paul, thank you so much for your kind donation. Really, you shouldn't have, but thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate it. So, let me have a look at flight radar. I think I might have to reload the app because it didn't show any traffic. That's not right. So let me try that again. And Evo Play says, dude, your zoom is insane, mate. Holy moly. Well, it is a Canon XA40 and I think the zoom in 35mm equivalent is from, what is it, 28 or 50 or so millimeters up to, I think it's the equivalent of approximately 600 millimeters. Now if you have a stable platform that I have, you can zoom in quite well. And this is all without using image stabilization, just the mount, and I do have the mount secured with tent wires into the ground with 3 wires around each tripod leg. After the incident where my previous tripod blew over because of the storm, I've learned my lesson. Now for some reason my flight radar app doesn't show any airplanes anymore. Let me reload again, see if it maybe updates. Still nothing. Okay, clear all filters. Still nothing. Okay, that's odd. Now I'm not going to reboot my phone because then I also have to open the chat window again, which is also a bit involved. Okay, so I don't have any traffic showing on flight radar at this moment. So I'll have to make do with just saying what I'm seeing, but you guys are also seeing the same thing. So, well, don't know what's going on. Let me troubleshoot later. Quickly turn the camera after putting back my gloves on. A turn and burn from the Embraer 175 from KLM. Where it's going to, how old it is, don't know. It's one of those days. First it was Schiphol and the runways, now the flight radar app. It does work, but it doesn't show any airplanes, even if I clear all the filters. Maybe it needs a hard reset. And otherwise, I'll just have to do without. Let me quickly turn around the camera because in the meantime, look at what is coming over here. Okay, Evo Play says that the planes are not showing on my flight radar also, so it seems that there might be an issue with flight radar then. Now, this BA Embraer, I'm going to pass on it. This is not the normal Silkway West livery, is it? I mean, the green tail, that's something that is not part of the normal livery, but on flight radar it didn't say that this was a special livery. Either way, I like it. Matte green, stripes, very hip. So this then the second airplane, at least that I recall, that we've seen arrive during the first stream of this afternoon and are now seeing take off during the second stream of this afternoon. The other airplane being the Boeing 767 from Icelandair back to Reykjavik. Listen to that. To me it sounded like a derated takeoff, that they didn't apply the fullest of takeoff thrusts that they can choose to do. So it's probably not too heavily loaded. Of course, flying to Oslo is not too far away. So fuel-wise, there's definitely not a lot on board compared to a transatlantic flight. Maybe the cargo is also not very heavy, allowing them to use less thrust to take to the skies. Now, I was about to say, let me look up the age of the plane on flight radar, but I still don't see anything. Don't know what's going on. If you guys are able to see traffic again on flight radar, do let me know in the chat. Then I'll have another look, because I looked just now and I still couldn't see anything. No traffic whatsoever. So I'm thinking maybe there's something going on at flight radar. Now guys, if you liked what you saw just now, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so. Greatly helps me to reach more people like you and me who are also into content like this. Plus it allows you to turn on notifications so that whenever I go live in the future, you receive a message and you can join us once again if you feel like it and are having the time for it. Alright then. Back to the threshold. We're an Embraer 190 by the looks of it. Ready to go. If I look to the left, it seems that there's another KLM jet coming this way. Looks like an Embraer 175. Okay, Stuart Ramsey also confirming the flight radar is showing up blank all the way over here in Florida. So must be a problem with flight radar then. If you would keep me posted when things have resolved again, then I'll also check in again. Hopefully I will be able to provide you some background information then. So the next Embraer from KLM is already almost at the runway threshold on the other side. Entering the runway as we speak. Might even do a turn and burn. Meanwhile, I do see what looks to be a bigger jet. Oh, there it is. Seems to be coming this way. Now this is the most I can zoom in. Is that the Aeromexico Dreamliner also taking off again after we saw it land during the previous stream? I think it might be. Meanwhile, the chat is going like crazy. I'm unable to keep up with all the messages. For the record, I do read back the entire chat from each stream once I get home. So if you are messaging me and I fail to respond, that's not because of bad will, but I do read all your messages when I get home. So Daniel is saying just use ADSB exchange. That is still working. Can you tell me how I need to do that? Is that something that you can enable in Flight Radar, or is that a different app or website altogether? Not that familiar with it. Okay, C. Jones says Flight Radar is tweeting they are working on an ADSB issue. Alright. And I agree, Wendy. It is also nice to plane spot without Flight Radar. It's also nice to know where the airplanes are going to and how old they are. That's the upside, I think. But I also like just being surprised by what is coming towards you. And Roadhog confirming that it is indeed the Aeromexico Dreamliner coming this way. Hey Simranjit, good day to you. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. All other viewers who have meanwhile joined us, welcome to AMS Live. So glad you guys are joining us on this Friday afternoon. Good Friday, the Friday before Easter. It's April already. You wouldn't say so if you look around you over here. Although we are expected to have better weather with more sunshine and also warmer temperatures in the Easter weekend in the next couple of days. Let me take this moment to take a sip of water. As we are watching the Aeromexico Dreamliner that we saw land during the first stream this afternoon also take off in a few moments, that is. I'm glad that I still have my gloves available over here, because temperature wise it doesn't feel like spring at all, unfortunately. Let me also take this moment to see how full my DJI mic receiver is. If I release the USB charging cable, seems to have fully recharged, so that's good news. Quickly put it back into the phone. Turn and burn. Here he goes. E2 Embraer 195 KLM. So much quieter when spooling up than the older generation. I'm always surprised by it, how quiet it is. Same goes for the A220. Also extremely quiet when it spools up. definitely a major improvement. At least for people living directly next to Schiphol. I think most of us will like the loud rumble of the other engine types as well. But I can definitely imagine that if you live right next to the runway, quieter engines are preferred. Although most people who complain about Schiphol will probably rather see less airplane movements altogether. So, Aeromexico Dreamliner back to Mexico City, also spooling up right away. Is that some sort of falcon on the depicted on the tail? It seems like some sort of predator bird, but maybe I'm completely wrong about that. And into the clouds she's gone. Now, still no sign of the clouds opening up. How is things in the north over at Rick, for instance? Are you guys having sunshine already, or is it also because I think we were expecting to get some more sunshine from the northeast or northwest, don't know for sure, but at least I think sunshine would be coming from the north at least. Evil Place asks if I'm going to stream tomorrow. I absolutely am expecting to go live again tomorrow. Don't know yet if I'm going to go out tomorrow morning or if it's going to be in the afternoon. Also depends on the runway usage. If I can film the arrivals, then going out in the mornings is something I like to do, because then I can also stick around until the A380 touches down. Wendy says in Heerenveen, also in the north of the country, also no sun, haven't seen the sun all day. Too bad, too bad. Hopefully tomorrow. Simon Kirby has to go. Catch you later, guys, he says. Catch you later, Simon. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again soon, and take care. And also in Drenthe, the northeast of the country, Henky says it's also cloudy. Dr. O says that in Hanover the sun is already out. So, but it is expected to get better tomorrow and the Easter weekend, the rest of the Easter weekend as well. I cannot wait, I can tell you. Now, is it still out, flight radar. It seems to be out still over here. Let me close the app and open it up again. Maybe a reboot. No, still nothing. So in that respect, it is a bit unpredictable because I don't know if there's something coming next and what it might be. And Wendy has to leave for work. Wendy, thanks for joining us again. Take care. Hope to see you again soon. En werk ze zo meteen. Now Rodok says that China Cargo Triple is coming to the Polderbaan. And Wendy says try radar box. Is that, can I see that, is there an app for that, or is it something you need to open on your browser? Let me see, radar box. Is that something, is that also in the Google Play Store? Radar box. Ah, live flight tracker. Install. Continue. Skip. Alright, I am currently downloading radar box as we speak. And there is another plane in the meantime coming this way. Seems to be an Embraer, but not entirely certain yet. Okay, radar box is still downloading. After that it's going to install. Stuart Ramsey says that it's even overcast in quote-unquote sunny Florida. There you go. But I bet that the temperatures over there are much better than they are over here. Victor Georgescu checking in from Frankfurt Airport. Good day. And Erwin Dudok, Suikerbietjes dad, on his own account. Well, good to see you again. So Erwin instead of Suikerbiet. Victor Georgescu asks, you understand or speak German? Ambition. Ich gehe in Urlaub in Österreich oft, Skiurlaub, und ich verstehe ziemlich viel, aber das Sprechen ist noch immer nicht 100% richtig, aber ich verstehe viel und ich kann auch ein bisschen reden, aber es ist nicht meine Originalsprache. But I am able to make myself understandable when I go on ski vacation in the Alps. Okay, so I am now trying to open up radar box. Okay, now, okay, let me not get too distracted. This is something I will check out in more detail when I get home. Hey, look at that. It is the chocolate special livery again. With all the cakes. But thank you guys for the tip of checking out radar box. It's good to have a second radar feed just in case. As you can see, flight radar is not 100% reliable in that sense. I've downloaded the app, but I'll look into setting it up properly with the right filters, also for inbound and outbound traffic, once I get home again. For now, a lovely view, KLM Duo, Embraer 190 in the foreground, 737 behind it. Both seem to be coming this way for a rolling start, the turn and burn. In the meantime, the KLM 737 entering the runway over here. Will we get away from the pilots? Hard to see them because there is some reflection on the windows. It is the Flamingo. Let me quickly rewire the USB cable to my phone because I was almost tripping over my USB wire, and in the haste I had it connected and quickly went back to the camera controls because the airplanes were taking off. But I have to do some cable management to make sure that I don't trip over my own cable. What's the right word? Cable. Heap of cables. Alright. Yeah, and Dr. O was already saying it. It was the Leysieffer Chocolaterie livery. We've seen it before. I'm glad to see it again. I'm still on a 6-week diet until Sunday, but I did already do some groceries and also got some Easter treats that are typically available around the Easter holiday season. Might also pick up a bag of chocolate Easter eggs before they are no longer available, because they are also always very nice. It's still a few more days of very regimented eating. So it's always mixed feelings when I see the German Airways livery with all the cakes on top of it. Meanwhile, we are seeing this 777 freighter going to the runway threshold. So we will see it take off in a few minutes, but as you guys can probably tell already, the 737 from KLM has its lights on already. It's going to come ahead and take off first probably. Thanks for the kind words, Henky. Awesome stream again. I do my best. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Happy to read back that you guys are. Cafe Spotter asks how I am today. Well, other than having a bit other than my hands being a bit chilly, and also having to set up twice, which was a bit of a bummer because initially at runway 27 it looked like traffic was drying up. Other than that, I'm doing really well. Doing the thing I love a lot. Interacting with a lot of people who are like-minded. So how can I not be very well today on this moment? Now I am going to turn around the camera because the 777 is already at the threshold lined up. So it's probably going to spool up rather quickly. Now those GE90s are second to none. Still loud, great noise, and incredibly big and powerful. Too bad that the cloud base is still quite low. You see it, they disappear into the clouds rather quickly. And in the meantime, we see 3 KLM airplanes queuing up for departure from the runway threshold. There is an Embraer 175 already lined up. And what seems to be another Embraer 175. And this is an old livery 737. You can see the difference. The demarcation between the bright blue on the top side and the white on the bottom, it's a straight line. That's still the old livery. And here with these planes you can see the new livery. It's a subtle difference, but there's a little bit of a curve on the front side of the airplane. And its sibling is already lined up, also ready to go in a few moments. Now the 737, in the meantime, no longer the last airplane in the line, because there's also an E2 Embraer 195. So in just a few moments we have seen almost all narrow bodies. The only thing missing is the Embraer 190. Stuart Ramsey asks if I have ever done a water-only fast for 21 days. Well, I certainly haven't. I think that is a bit extreme. Also, I'm afraid that when you fast for such a prolonged period of time, it cannot be good for retaining your muscle mass. Now, intermittent fasting is something I have tried before. And in fact are in some way incorporating it into my current diet, because the calorie restriction makes that skipping a meal is easier, because then at least during your feeding window you can have decent sized meals and also get satiated from the meals that you are eating. When you don't skip a meal and eat normally, you would have to distribute those calories over more meals, making the calories per meal lower and thereby the meals less satiating. So you'll be hungry more time of the day. So I found it better more easily sustainable to skip breakfast, for instance, and start your first meal around noon. So yeah, you do get a bit hungry after that first meal, but if you also have a meal before going to bed like I am, it is doable. But a 21-day water fast seems a bit extreme. I'm sure that you'll lose a lot of fat in the process, but I'm afraid that you will also lose a lot of lean tissue. And when you work out in the gym as well, like I am, to also give your muscles the message, hey, I still need you, don't break me down. I'm thinking that will only accelerate the process of muscle loss, because now at least I have an adequate protein intake to compensate for the micro tears and damage that you do in the gym. And if you fast completely, you only break down stuff and there are no nutrients to repair the damage, so to speak. So I'm not sure if it is the most optimal way to lose fat if that's what you're aiming for. I think calorie restriction, but eating enough meals and also enough protein to at least maintain what you have, in combination with providing the right stimulus through working out, is probably the most optimal way to go. Meanwhile, I see that Dr. O is super chatting and thanking me for the stream. Thank you so much for your kind donation, my friend, and you're very welcome. Really, I like doing this and I'm glad you guys enjoy. Now, And Stuart exactly confirming that you definitely have to take a break from the gym during a prolonged fast. And that is exactly why I don't think it is the right thing to do for me. First of all, I really like going to the gym, and if I stay away for too long, I get jittery. Well, not so much jittery as in withdrawals, but mentally I get more anxious. I really need the physical stimulus to also clear my head, so to speak. So for me, just restricting my calories to, what is it, 2200 calories a day or so, coming from a lean bulk where I ate almost double, 4000 calories. I think my maintenance is around 3000 or so, so really helps to lose some fat during a 6-week mini cut. I think I am now down 6 kilograms or so. And most importantly, the circumference around my arms and legs and chest and stuff have stayed the same. The only circumference that has decreased is the abdominal circumference, where I store most of my body fat. Typical male fat distribution, the love handles and the belly and the lower back. So once this 6-week period is over, I can go back in a calorie surplus again for 4.5 months or so. I do these cycles twice a year, 2 6-week periods after approximately 18 weeks of eating in a small calorie surplus. Now, you don't get fat by that, but if you want to gain weight and gain muscle mass, there is no other way than to eat in a surplus, and there's always collateral damage in the form of some fat mass that also accumulates. But by keeping your calorie surplus limited, the fat gain is also limited. Henky, thank you so much for your super sticker. Hard for me to pronounce the stupid word, but thank you so much for your support, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, my friend. Shiba dog clapping his hands. As you can see, I stream via Ecamm Live, and it doesn't show the actual sticker, it only shows the description, which is also what I can then broadcast in the live stream itself. So, Mark T says his son found out that when he was working out, that is, he gained muscle, but also some belly fat. It's just how the world works. And if you make sure that you don't eat, you don't go overboard and go binge eating and have unhealthy food the entire day, then most of the weight that you gain will most likely be lean tissue, but there's always going to be some fat that is just collateral damage. Now, I'm happy to say that looking at flight radar, I can see airplanes again. I see that around the south threshold of runway 18 center, 36 center, there is a KLM 737 outbound to Copenhagen coming this way. Still has to go up the runway a bit, and then it can cross over to this area, so it's still a few minutes out. See an A330 from KLM that is outbound to Boston. Seems to have been pushed back or is about to be pushed back, so that is very likely going to come this way. And some narrow bodies off to Basel in well, at least the city is in Switzerland, Milan, Athens, Dublin. Oh, and some are vanishing as I speak. Oh dear. Okay. I was afraid that flight radar was having a malfunction again, as a couple of airplanes were vanishing as I was looking at them. The 737 outbound to Copenhagen is still underway, and it will be followed by an Embraer 175 that is outbound to Norwich. Now the 737-800 coming this way to Copenhagen is 16 years old. First flight was in April 2006, and the Embraer 175 to Norwich, KLM flight 1523, is 6 years old. Its first flight was in January 2017. Now, unfortunately, 24 is also still open for departures. Looking at the app that shows the current runway usage, the same configuration is still active. So 36 left is still open for outbound, as is 24, and 27 still the only runway for inbound traffic, at least according to the app that shows it. By the looks of it, the A330 to Boston is also on the move. So let me put on my gloves again. The lights on the 737 seem to be on already, so I'm thinking it's going to come straight ahead and take off in front of us, probably another turn and burn. Henky says, fat doesn't want to leave my body. Yeah, it can be quite difficult to get rid of it properly. Roy says that the audio is glitching. Are other people also experiencing the same thing? Let me do a check after the departure of the 737. Hopefully it was only a temporary glitch. And is the voice-over audio glitching, Roy, or is the ambient sounds, the other microphone, glitching? I will check the audio once again after this Embraer also has taken off, because it's also going to do a rolling start by the looks of it. Right, let me do a few checks then if the audio is not functioning optimally. Okay, okay now, okay, sound is okay, it is okay now, voice over, okay. Subbed and liked, hi from Adelaide, South Australia, says Roy. Yet another Roy. We have several Airwins and several Roys present. Welcome Roy from Adelaide, hope you're doing well mate. And welcome to AMS Live over here in what seems to be wintry Amsterdam. But it is actually spring according to the calendar. And Patrick Weber says, Danke für die schöne livestream. Gern geschehen, gern geschehen. Hope you enjoy. And the voice just glitched. Okay. Let me recheck. I did. Okay. The DJI mic seems to be working alright still. For some reason the receiver was not fully charged, but that one I did fix. So let me have a look at flight radar because I think that also has started working again. So inbound now is KLM flight 898. It is an Embraer 190 outbound to London City. 13 years old. First flight was in September 2009. It seems that next after that is going to be an A320 from Aer Lingus outbound to Dublin. And the A330 to Boston from KLM is also coming this way, looking to be number 3. Now, as we're waiting the A320 from Aer Lingus, it does seem that the sky is a bit brighter over there. So maybe the clearer skies are not too far away anymore. In the meantime, this is the Aer Lingus A320 flight 609 outbound to Dublin. She's 17 years old. First flight was in June 2005, and after that, it's not yet visible but soon will be, is KLM flight 617 and A330-300 outbound to Boston, and that is an 11-year-old plane. First flight was in March 2012. I think we see two TUI Dreamliners there in the background. Are they also on the move for Aaron Paul? I also hope for more sun tomorrow. Erin wants to go spotting tomorrow civil aviation at Teugen. And hopefully later some hot air balloons. Oh yeah, it's that time of year again where you can also do hot air balloon rides. Never did them myself. I sure would like to do that sometime. Has anyone of you guys watching ever did any of you ever take a hot air balloon ride? I think it's very nice and peaceful because you're floating along with the wind, so if I think about it, there shouldn't be any wind or a lot of wind at least when you're on board. Of course you don't know where exactly you're going to end up because you are floating along with the wind. It seems like a very peaceful experience to me. And as this Easyjet Aer Lingus is going to take off, over to the left the A330 is also approaching. Now I'm not sure which of the liveries I like better, the old one or the new one. How about you guys? Do you guys prefer one over the other? Or do you find them both equally appealing? I think most people will agree that the old livery from Icelandair looks better than the new one. Fishline says my ex-wife was full of hot air. Does that count? Well, it depends. If she was also balloon-like, then maybe it would be a hot air balloon of some sorts. Now, I don't want to get demonetized, so let's not go into the adult jokes about riding and taking rides and stuff, but so, yet again, an Airbus A330. This one outbound to Boston. Taxiing to the runway threshold. Now, the only times in the last couple of weeks that we've seen issues with A330s, it were Delta A330s and not KLM A330s, so hopefully this plane will take off without any delay or abnormalities, sorry. Although we have seen several instances where they didn't retract the landing gear right away, apparently due to some heating issues. It's always exciting, although I'm not sure if it's the right motivation for it to be exciting when you see an A330 take off, wondering if there's going to be any issues or not. Not a good sign, but yeah. So tomorrow opening season, balloons indeed. Special Easter hunt ballooning. Okay. And Hommegat says, looks like Polderbaan is closing. If that's the case, then that would be a pity. On the other hand, it is 5:30 already over here, so all in all, it has been an interesting afternoon. No issues with brakes or the landing gear. And into the clouds in a few seconds. My camera cannot wait until then. It was half submerged in the cloud, into the clouds already. And then the camera started losing focus already. Alright, so unfortunately, or at least I read that Polderbaan is closing. Rick, it's been a pleasure having you around again. I will see you again soon again. Cook you some dinner. That's a very good idea. I'm also starting to get peckish a bit, so let me have a look and see if the runway is indeed no longer active. Oh yeah, promising, or maybe not the right word, and an ominous sign, that was the word I was looking for, is that there's now a Dreamliner outbound to JFK taking off from runway 24. Normally speaking, you would think that they were taking off from the Polderbaan if given the choice. Let me have a look at the Baangebruik app, the app that shows the current runway usage. Well, it still says that 36 left is open, but there doesn't seem to be any traffic coming this way just yet. So maybe this is just a sign that it's time to wrap up this stream again, or at least this time round. Enjoy it. I'm reading the chat and also trying to say something. That's not good. I'm a terrible multitasker. So there's no more traffic coming this way. I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. I am looking to go back live again tomorrow. Don't know yet if it's going to be a morning stream or afternoon stream. That will depend on the weather and the wind mostly, because if departures take place on a runway, arrivals take place on a runway that I can also get a good view on it, then maybe I'll go out tomorrow morning so that I can also stick around for the A380. If it's the same configuration as today, then maybe I will do an afternoon stream. I will let you guys know in advance, as soon as I know what I'm going to do. I'll have a look at the weather again tonight to make sure that we know what the runway usage will be. Aaron Paul says, inspection now, runway car. I'm looking around to see if I can spot any runway inspections taking place. So then it's just a temporary shutdown of the runway. Still, it is getting a bit late. I also have to pack everything in again, so I am going to wrap it up for today. I want to thank each and every one of you once again for joining me. Really appreciate the support you guys gave me. Also, thank you to all the people who generously donated super chats once again. Thank you so much. All the new members that are also have joined the channel, welcome and thank you so much for your support in that way. I'm looking to go back again tomorrow and also on Sunday and also on Monday, weather permitting. So if you guys aren't able to make it tomorrow, then maybe later during the Easter weekend. If not, hopefully I will see you all again soon. And otherwise, have a nice Easter. Take care, be safe, and I will see you all again soon. Bye for now, folks.